All right. Good afternoon, cyber traders. Welcome on back here this Tuesday, September 14th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. And as always, this time of the day, welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check live inside the trading room. I know that Fausto is conducting a webinar, how to trade $5 stocks. That's actually on our YouTube stream right now, on our YouTube channel, mind you. That's youtube.com/cyber trading you. Talking a little low so I don't startle him, but great to see everybody else. Got Norman, Stefan joining us today. Got Leda, David, Bonnie, James, Michael, Lori, Debbie, Bobby, Kathleen, Donald. Perfect. All right. And of course, everybody joining on in alongside them. Great to see you back here, especially those joining us on Facebook Live and YouTube, like Daniel F. once again today. So, hey, so the stock life is on the screen to begin here. So we'll start off by going over this trade. Obviously, this ended up falling off quite a bit once the market opened up. But I always like to say this. It's not as if I start off the meeting with a stock that I'm in, but mind you, we were watching this stock all from yesterday, and you see my chart all lined up. This is my main actual trading platform, so I didn't really feel the need to delete the lines. I'd rather just briefly go over why I'm in this trade now and how we ended up following this stock at least once the market opened up today. So really quickly, actually, prior to that, I want to just jump to a private chat. I was talking to a student, and one of our students, Larry, just saying, hey, life is the perfect example of the value of earnings. And I actually didn't realize this morning, mind you, but Life ended up reporting earnings today, conveniently enough. Larry says the stock skyrocketed on the news that it lost only 4 cents instead of the 5 cents. Go figure. To backtrack on that, though, the stock Life we were following from yesterday, it was in relation to news regarding their phase 1B/2A clinical trial. It met their primary endpoint. Well, that's the main reason as to why this stock popped yesterday. Now, conveniently enough, looks like they did. Did they have earnings today? Yeah, I see the earnings right there as well, but nonetheless, we ended up seeing a huge dive once the market opened up today on this Life stock. I took a 10-cent loss on this stock shortly after the open. That was the only time I jumped into this stock up until right now, and I'm still not out of the doghouse just yet either on this trade, but it's to say very briefly that, hey, the closing bell price from yesterday, 9:15. If you were in the trading room yesterday when we were finishing up our audio commentary, I told you folks, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I don't toss the G word out that often, but I actually said in our live trading room as we finished up the audio commentary, I guarantee you that $9.15 today, at some point in time or another, is going to act as a key level. So, it's to say that the more and more the stock was dropping throughout the day, well, I'm waiting. I'm like hawking the stock. I check out the CEI trade, which we'll jump to next, and then the JCS. Those are moving right now, mind you, but the more and more this drops towards my level, I'm going to be prepared to take it. So, hey, I'm still not out of the doghouse on this trade that I'm in right now. I'm in exactly from 917. It's got to make a nice pop back up a little bit more right now, I'd say sooner than later. It's still very possible for this to dump right back down, break below the 915 and test 9. But for right now, I'm going to hold on to this trade as we go through the meeting. I got my stop set anyway. Now, hey, if you're on social media today, Facebook Live or YouTube, if you're one of our regular attendees, or if you're joining us for the first time today, I had made reference to our audio commentary live inside our trading room. That's where I was harping on the price 915, that yellow line on my chart. For any one of us today on social media looking to join our live trading room, you can do so by going right down to the link on the banner below. I'll be doing the audio full from 3 to 4 today. Tag Rich out today, at least for all of us live inside the room. So you got me for a full 60 today. I look forward to it. But otherwise, though, we'll see what else we have moving. And as I had said, we had a couple of other stocks that were moving heading into this time of the day, the afternoon right now. So, hey, CEI could not have worked out any better from where we had left off from this stock in the Traders Talk workshop, right? For students like Bonnie and Larry and Nancy and Grant and Michael and Thomas, it's to say for all of you there and inside Traders Talk earlier today, our weekly Q&A that we host in Cyber Group, I'd said, hey, we'll check back in with the stock later on. But I was saying that, hey, 145, not 150, that was the real level to watch out for. So actually, as we concluded Traders Talk, this stock was beginning to push back up and over 150. And at that point, I say, hey, if it's going to, fail to break lower, if this doesn't come back down now at this point, then it gives me great belief that this stock's going to fly. This stock's going to run back up and hit the next major resistance. So, you can see it did that. thankfully that played out perfectly to how we had expected it to go. But it's to say that this stock had resistance at 175, and then really made a false breakout from there, popped and dropped it, and right now it's not looking that great for the afternoon. Perhaps as I continue to go through the stocks and go through the scanners, we'll look to check back in with this. If it ends up making a nice pop back up, perhaps I'll reconsider. But yeah, this drop off from 175, 180, the HOD there, it doesn't look as good right now. So maybe later on we'll come back to it. JCS though, this is one that's moving a little bit more right now and certainly still maintaining its direction up, although it just shook right down from the last peak there. It's still in the formation of making higher lows. This stock ended up making a nice squeeze going right into 12 o'clock noon here, ended up popping from 840, 850, ended up making a hell of a run from that point, ended up going up to a high of the day of 969 before dropping back down. So hey, we like the volatility, not necessarily a fan of the liquidity on the order book here, but yeah, for right now, I'll put this on our main list for the meantime. All right, the JCS. And I noticed this as I just kind of talked about this stock, Norman informing me, which I already knew, but life, right as I just turned away from this stock, damn. Oh, I got stopped out. I took a not 2 cent. I got stopped out at 9.10. So in from 17, 7 cent loss I took. It is what it is. But hey, I'll come back to the stock later on. Maybe I'll put this on the main list, at the end of it all. I normally say I don't put a stock on the list just because I'm in it. So if it ends up tanking completely from this point, then I wouldn't be as keen to watch it really from this point forward. But perhaps we'll come back to this later on. All right, but yeah, JCS top percent gainer right now. It's only up 32%. Normally for the top of the gainers list, we would find a lot more stocks that are up 50, 60, 80+% leading into the afternoon. So hey, for right now, this will be on our list. Let's see if there's anything else that's moving up or making a big push upward at the highs of the day that can make a better run. Familiar name actually. Number 3 on the gainers list, little Vino, right? Vino Gaucho Gap Holdings or Group Holdings, nonetheless. We traded the stock going back into late June, as you could see, pop from 450 on the daily chart, ran up to like near 9 before dumping back down. But we say it all the time here. If we could have a stock like this make another run back up and make just a fraction of the type of move that it made for us back in late June, we'll take it. So yeah, Vino here, little bit of a spread. The order book a little scarce here and there across the bid and the ask, but pushing back up to 4. Perhaps this does make one more push up for us into the close. So for right now, I'll slip it on our list. If it ends up dumping back down from this point, or if there are just plenty of other stocks that look better, then maybe this will get the boot as we just kind of keep going. OPAD. What the hell's going on with this stock? Looking at the daily chart, holy smokes. This thing's been through like the spin cycle here, up and down. Made a big pop back on Thursday last week, dumped all the way back down. And, hey, I guess it's making that fraction of the run that it made back on Thursday last week currently. So, that's nice to have. But again, the order book is just throwing me for a loop here. It popped and dropped from 12 already. Wouldn't shock me if it dumps all the way back down from this point. So, if it ends up making another push or showing a lot more buying coming in on the order book, perhaps I'll be more interested in it. Let's see what else we got, though. Blue. BLU stock from yesterday ended up making a really nice bounce heading into the late morning and ran up for us heading into the afternoon. And obviously today ended up continuing once the market opened up, popped from 5 practically and ran from there. So right now, this stock, this looks a lot better compared to some of the other stocks we've already went through. I like the liquidity. It's cheap. It's pushing back up briefly. Is it going to continue to go and pop back over the peak that we had from the early afternoon and run up to 6 again and pop the highs? That's a hard bargain. That's a hard bargain right there, folks. So again, I'm not fully sold on putting this stock in particular on the main list just yet. I'd like to kind of just cherry pick really at this point. Prague from earlier today, unfortunately, this was a bust. Ended up popping at the market open, but dumped right back down. I'll tell you what wasn't a bust. The fuel cell trade. This stock, it wasn't on the main morning watch list. I think as Fausto was finishing up, this stock was making its move. But man, ended up making a continued move after the market opened to the point where it ended up running, over a full buck. Ended up opening up right around 620, ran right over pre-market resistance shortly after the open, and from there just built this perfect trend up. Actually, I want to jump to the stock really quickly because I thought it was a good point actually in the moment. One of our students had mentioned that it reminded them of the stock Gevo from last week. And of course, my chart doesn't go back that far. Let me just do this really briefly. It's just to say, not every stock is going to pop and maintain the type of run that Gevo had back last week, and certainly that FCEL had today. Ended up topping off right around 750. That is, and perfectly enough, right around 10:30 Eastern time, what we typically call reversal time anyway here in the stock market. So ended up playing out perfectly in that regard, came all the way back down, and it was actually a really good short, much like it was a long from the market open. So, it's pretty flat right now. If you did well on the stock earlier today, I'm sure that you'd be more keen to follow it. It just isn't making that big of a drop off right now. Not as advantageous of an opportunity as we would want to have at this point. So we'll see if there's anything that looks better. Really, it's still very tradable, but see what else we got. MTMB here from the market open, actually from yesterday, ended up making a nice move from 90 cents all the way up to 110. Popped once the market opened up today from 106, 108-ish, all the way up towards 128, 127. Check back in on the daily chart for this stock because I'm not going to put it on the main list for today, but maybe this will be on our side list, or who knows, maybe the main list for tomorrow. Looks like the stock's had some big spikes up across the last couple of years here. Who knows? Maybe it could do what it did back going into the end of last year, or going back into the end of 2020, perhaps. All right, NNVC also another bust. This one was all right, but it died off very quickly, at least. So it ended up making for a nice bounce from the opening bell print, right around $4.92. Pushed up pretty nicely at first, but like I'd said just before, it came back down pretty hard to the point where it sliced right under 5, and barely held that 492 again. Dropped pretty quickly afterwards, and just dumped off. So, unfortunately, it ended up failing to continue to hold support. Not the type of stock you want to hope and hold on to. All right, up 8+%. You got the Canon trade. I learned a couple weeks ago. A little embarrassing to say, but I thought this was the photography company Canon. I mean, I knew that they were into crypto mining, but I don't know. I just thought that it was the photography company. I was led wrong there, but nonetheless, it doesn't matter what the company does. It's just a matter of us following the levels, following the stock itself. So it looks like this ended up making it for a nice trade from $9. It broke under and over from 9. Ended up pushing back up to make a new HOD off 920, 925. So, hey, it made for a great trade earlier today, and perhaps it's starting to make a small little bounce back up from like $9.30 here, pushing up about 9 cents for right now. Keep it on your side list. I'm not as keen to put it on the main list just yet. Looking down at my main list here so far, we got 2 stocks on there so far. That's it. So, really not a big list entirely, and we'll see what else we got. Happy I got out of life. I'll say that much. All right, so we'll keep it going at this point, see if there's anything looking just as good, if not better, on this side of the field. Now, actually, really quick, I don't know how this happens. I was about to check in on the markets to see how the S&P was doing, the SPY, the S&P ETF, that is. So let me just put this up. I thought it was up. Yeah, it looks like the SPY's been gradually dropping off really from the market open today, but now heading into the afternoon, just broke a new low of the day after 2 o'clock. So perhaps we'll have some more opportunities on the way down here heading into the close. We'll find out. Ah, my guy, Bill Ackman, Herbalife, right? Anybody ever watch that documentary on Netflix? It's been out for a little while now, and I'm sure a lot of us were active in the market at the time that all of the Herbalife stuff went down, going back into like 2014, 2012, etc., going into here. So it's a pretty cool documentary on Netflix. I forgot the title of it, but it has to do with Herbalife and Bill Ackman and all of that went down then. Nonetheless, right now, either way, it's at the lows of the day. Why is the stock down 21% right now? That's the question. I didn't check the news before today on this stock. I didn't really follow this stock at all after the market opened. So Herbalife down after the company reported it had revised the Q3 earnings results and fiscal year guidance. So obviously not good revisions there. Either way, right now, definitely we'll put this on our watch list. More as a short, of course, with this stock at the lows right now. Little thin order book and also a little pricey. So more of a level 3 to level 4 stock, I'd imagine, heading into the close. So hey, we'll still put this on our list and see if it can continue to go. Actually, as we speak, really quickly, you're not going to find too many big prints on the tape like this, really. But at 42.85, practically off the lows, but just keep that price in mind. A 37,000 share print just came in on the tape, and immediately after, it's continuing to drop. So I found that to be pretty interesting just now. GSAT. Ooh, I just dropped my seat there. Interesting. GSAT ended up making a nice drop off today. Stock is still shortable, so this actually could have been a hell of an opportunity to short going into the afternoon. For as much as it dropped, you might ask for a bounce, but also at the same time, as they say that, if there is a bounce, how much of a bounce are you going to get? I mean, this seems like a slower moving stock. So even this, 20, 25 cent drop off here is pretty extreme in such a short amount of time. So I don't know if the juice is going to be worth the squeeze here heading into the afternoon on this GSAT stock. It's been on my side list from last week, so it's going to remain on my side list. I'll check in with this trade come tomorrow morning. All right, see what else we got here on the losers side. A bunch of former runners over the last week and a half, 2 weeks are on the losers today. That includes obviously BBIG right now. If this stock is shortable on your platform, then I would definitely put it on your main watch list. It has been hard to borrow for us really for a long time now. So, hey, if you could short it, go for it. But otherwise, right now, I mean, it just looks like it's going to keep dropping. So if you're looking for the bounce, I mean, literally, unless if it's like right here, right now, literally right now off of 8, making a higher low and a pop back up, like unless if it's right there, I don't think you're getting it at all. So, just be mindful of that. I'm not as keen to put this on our main list right now. All right. So with that, the casino stocks we jumped to because we got Win, you got LVS. I mean, all of these are pretty expensive, obviously, but Fausto had brought this up earlier in the morning and put both of them on the watch list heading into the open. So it's just to say, with bad news out, the big drop off, at least from the after hours into the pre-market, really wasn't much of a squeeze up at first. Really not at all. Just ended up continuing its trend off the pre-market highs heading into the open and just continued to drop. Ended up bottoming out right around, what is that, like 85? No, 80, 89.25. Pop back up. Las Vegas Sands probably in a very similar trend right now. MGM, checking on Penn National Gaming very briefly. Penn pretty expensive, but at the lows, hey, if you're interested in shorting right now, this could be an interesting opportunity here at the lows of the day. Penn National Gaming. What else is there? I think Caesars. If they're not on the losers list or if they're not near the lows of the day like Penn was at least, I'm not going to be interested in it. But yeah, that Penn trade could be somewhat interesting to us here. It's just very pricey of a stock. So how many shares are you really going to trade at this thing? So, um, you know, I don't know. I'm not really going to put this on the main list, but if you tend to trade the more expensive ones, this would be the best bet, I feel. All right, folks, how about this? If there's anything up, down, left, right, more than 5% that you would want me to check out here briefly heading into the market close, then type it in the chat board now. Let me know. And IRNT making a new HOD, says Scott, says later just before. And I kind of jumped over this briefly as I did the meeting. I did look at this like for a split second and I turned away from it very quickly after. This stock just has such a thin order book. So you know what I'm going to say here. It's a gamble. This is way more of a gamble than making any sort of educated decision on this stock. Stock ended up popping last week from 14 all the way up to 30. Look what happened the following day after, though. That morning, it insta dumped off. So, look at what it's doing now. Big shake here. So very volatile move here. It's at the highs, albeit pulling back now. Listen, I'll slip it on the list here. But you know who you are if you should be trading the stock or not. That's all. Don't lie to me. And also, more so than that, don't lie to yourself. That's all. From Daniel, he says on YouTube, he's short on the FCEL trade. Whoa, from 750 right now. He's making some good coin on that trade. Holding a quarter of that position though in total. So hey, doing really nice. And yeah, for the meantime, I mean, now since we turned back to FCEL, the stock is actually dropping back down. You know what? I may as well put this on our main list at this point because it seems to still be pretty lively on the way down. Maybe it drops down towards 6 by the end of it all. Um, from one of us on YouTube, just asking, what price target do you give the stock CYRN? Now, are you asking what price target do I give by 4 p.m.? That's the only price target I can really give. And mind you, it's not to say that I would guarantee for any stock to move to any price level that we list. Hell, just look what happened on Life, right? I guaranteed that 915 was going to be a big level. I still guarantee 915. That yellow line is going to be a big level. It might just act as resistance now. It might tank from that point, but it's to say that 915 is still a major point of interest for us right now. But aside from just saying that, even if this pops over 915 and I jump back in, I don't have a target on this trade. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to follow the stock level by level. Perhaps we could see it squeeze back up to 10. Going back to CYRN for a member on YouTube here, stock ended up popping a little bit into the morning. Nice move up for a cheapie here, which normally we don't trade stocks priced below a buck because they normally don't make consistent moves day over day. This made a nice pop that we ended up missing. Looks like obviously ended up missing the dump back down after. Normally, just for any stock that we see that makes this type of pattern up, then shortly after dumps practically all the way back down. I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but I'd expect this to just continue to dump off. If not going into the close today, then certainly into the market open tomorrow. So if you're in that trade, don't hope and hold. From Leda saying that the OCGN trade dumped. Yeah, I mean, hey, you know what? This stock's down 9% right now. I don't know if I skipped over it on the loser side here. Oh, I don't think it was down enough, I guess. But, nonetheless, this is a nice call. I mean, it's at the lows, it's shortable, it's at a major support level right now, mind you, at 750. But for as much as this stock popped yesterday, right? You would hope to see continuation. It was a vaccine stock. I was hopeful to see continuation after the market opened up today. I did not trade the stock, mind you, but it's to say that, after it chopping around 8 and thereafter holding under 8 here on a false breakout, it's like, that's no bueno. You're not getting your pop back up at all with this in mind here. So yeah, more of a short now heading into the close than anything. And the OCGN trade, I'll slip on the main list here. It's a good call. I like it. Haha, Lewis, one of our longtime students here in Cyber Group and perhaps a big OCGN fan himself, more on the swing side. He says, I need more shares. Bring it to me. Meaning he wants it to drop more, certainly. Hopefully it continues dropping for us, Lewis, heading into the close. But I'll tell you what, otherwise, folks, if there's anything else, just let me know right now. We're going to close up shop here otherwise. I would watch out for that 915. That's going to act as resistance on Life at first. All right, going to jump to Benzinga Pro. I see nothing else on YouTube, nothing else inside the Cyber Group room. With the markets dropping off still, furthermore, we're not really seeing a whole lot popping up on my Benzinga signals feed. If anything, actually, it's really just the inverse ETFs that are at the highs of the day, like SQQQ. I think we got SRTY, SDS, and we're not going to trade the ETFs, mind you. It's just to say that markets are dropping, so maybe we'll just check in lastly with like the cruise lines and airlines that we ended up shorting really nicely back on Friday last week, as the markets were at this stage pretty much now that it's at. Um, it's not really making as sharp of a move down right now. This American Airlines trade dating back to Friday last week going into the close, it still wasn't as sharp moving, but it provided a great short for us heading into the afternoon between AAL, UAL, etc. It's just that they're not as lively right now, I feel. So, perhaps they continue dropping, but I'm going to hold off on putting them on the main list here for right now. All right, folks, but I'll tell you what, we got a decent list to begin. We got 6 stocks in total. And then aside from this watch list here, if there's anything else that makes a big move up, down, in between, left, right, you name it, we'll be there to call it out live inside the trading room. If you are interested in attending Fausto's webinar today, I believe that will be on our YouTube channel after its completion. Again, that's at youtube.com/cybertradingu. But for all of us there right now, including R. Solomon, Daniel F., and all of us otherwise, one more time, folks, if you are interested in continuing the audio commentary here, we're going to be doing that live inside our trading room. So go right down to the link on the banner below to get yourself started on a week-long trial. But otherwise, I'll catch back with you folks coming up later on tomorrow. At least that is at this time of the day. I'll talk to you soon, folks. For all of us live inside the room, take care.